If you ever stood along Nairobi Eldoret Highway in the late 90s, you didn't need a watch, you didn't need a phone. All you needed was your ears. Because before you saw it, you could hear it. A deep engine roar, a long confident horn, and then, like a bullet cutting through the wind, Eldoret Express. Bright red, bold yellow strips, dust rising behind it. Inside, passengers laughed, sang, and sometimes even slept. They called it the flying bed, gari ya watu, the pride of the Rift Valley. But to most Kenyans, it was simply the fastest way home. This story does not begin with buses. It begins with a man, William K. Komen, a humble cobbler in Eldoret town, a man who spent his days polishing shoes while watching people walk past him with places to go. He had no car, no land, no connections, but he had something more powerful than money: vision. In 1984, after years of saving every coin he could, he bought a single vehicle, a Peugeot 504 Matatu. It wasn't new, it wasn't flashy, but to him, it was everything. And he gave it a name that could one day echo across the country: Eldoret Express. At first, it was just another Matatu navigating dusty roads and crowded stops. But Komen noticed something others ignored. People weren't just traveling, they were enduring travel. Long hours, uncomfortable seats, delays that stretched patience thin. So he asked himself one simple but powerful question: what if travel felt different? That question changed everything. By the early 1990s, Eldoret Express had begun to grow. More vehicles were added, more routes opened. But the real breakthrough came when Komen introduced something Kenya had never seen before: sleepers buses. Yes, actual beds inside buses. Passengers traveling from Nairobi to Eldoret could lie down, stretch, and rest. At a time when most buses offer nothing but cramped seats and loud engines, Eldoret Express offered comfort, dignity, and rest. And the price? Just 350 shillings. Affordable, comfortable, and incredibly fast. It didn't just attract passengers, it created loyalty. But what truly made Eldoret Express unforgettable was the culture it carried. These were not just journeys, they were experiences. On weekends, buses transformed into moving celebrations. Kalenjin musicians performed live inside, choirs sang, and passengers clapped along, turning long trips into joyful moments. A few hours journey no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a memory in the making. By 2001, Eldoret Express was no longer just a transport company. It was an empire. With over 70 buses, its own fuel stations, and powerful circle, the company was worth over 1.2 billion shillings. It became one of the largest private employers in Washin-Gishu. Its influence reached even the highest level of leadership. In 1999, former President Daniel Arap Moi flagged off a few fleets, cementing its place as symbol of regional pride. The booking office on Uganda Road became more than just a terminal. It became a landmark. Meet me at Eldoret Express was all the direction anyone needed. Then came the moment that sealed its legend. In 1998, one of its buses traveled from Nairobi to Eldoret in just 3 hours and 45 minutes. It was almost unbelievable. Drivers, many of them skilled mechanics with racing instincts, pushed the machine to their limits. The nickname spread quickly, the flying bed, but hidden within that admiration was danger. No one wanted to confront. The same speed that made Eldoret Express famous will eventually bring it down. At first, the warning signs were ignored. A complaint here, a close call there. But soon, the accidents began. Between 2003 and 2008, The company was involved in 11 major crashes. The most devastating came in December 2007 near Salgaa, where 28 lives were lost. The Nation Post. Investigation revealed something chilling. Drivers were averaging speed of up to 120 km per hour. The name Express had become too real, too dangerous. Public trust began to fade. Parents warned their children not to board those buses. Fear replaced admiration. And just as the company struggled to regain control, another blow struck from within. In 2006, William K. Komen passed away. With him went the unity that had held the empire together. His sons fell into conflict. Court battles, disagreements, and power struggles torn the company apart. Buses were impounded, routes were split, and confusion spread. Some buses operated under Eldoret Express, others under New Eldoret Express. Passengers no longer knew which is which. As if that wasn't enough, imitators flooded the roads. Companies with similar names and identical colors emerged. Eldoret Express, Eldoret Express, Elite Eldoret. To the average passengers, they all looked the same, but their standards were not. Mistakes were made, accidents increased, and original brand's reputation suffered deeply. Then came the financial collapse. In 2011, over 400 million shillings from Sacco mysteriously disappeared. Drivers went on strike, operations slowed, and dozens of buses were grounded. The once unstoppable giant was now struggling to survive. Meanwhile, a new competitor was rising, Easy Coach. It brought something different to the industry. Discipline, seatbelts, speed governor capped at 80 km per hour, and professionally trained drivers. Safety became the new standard. Parents who once admired Eldoret Express now advised their children to avoid it. The shift was clear. Speed was no longer attractive. Safety was. By 2016, Eldoret Express was barely holding on. Only one route remained, Eldoret to Nakuru. One bus, one last attempt to stay alive. But even that final effort ended quietly. The bus, KBJ 234X, broke down near Salgaa. Passengers stepped out. Some waited, others chose to walk. And just like that, without ceremony or announcement, Eldoret Express came to an end. The bus was never recovered. It still sits there today, rusting slowly, a silent reminder of what once was. And yet, even in its absence, Eldoret Express lives on. In language, people still say, Umeenda kama Eldoret Express, meaning, you left very fast. In music, in the 2001 hit by Micro Teach still echoes in Matatus. In modern culture, TikTok revived its memory with edits and humor, blending nostalgia with irony. In Kapsabet, abandoned buses form what some call the Express Cemetery, where rusted metal tells stories of glory and loss. Even the old booking office still stands, now a wine and spirit shop, its original red paint faintly visible beneath layers of change. A quiet reminder that history never truly disappears. It just changes form. Eldoret Express was more than just a transport company. It was ambition in motion, innovation on wheels, pride carried across highways. It rose because it understood what people wanted: speed, comfort, and experience. But it failed because it ignored something equally important: speed limits. Speed without control becomes danger. Success without unity becomes collapse. Growth without discipline becomes distraction. As one elderly woman once said, tulipenda speed yake, lakini speed iliua. We loved its speed, but the speed killed it. And maybe, just maybe, when you stand by that highway today and hear a fast-moving bus approaching in the distance, for a brief moment, you remember the sound, the speed, the legend, Eldoret Express. If you enjoy this story, subscribe for more untold Kenyan stories, because sometimes the road remembers what history forgets. It has been yours truly, unruly Jayuga, and life as it is there is continues.